you coming from?
So we stand for the pledge of allegiance, please.
South Nile.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to make mention of the emergency exit. There's one behind me, there's one to my left, and the main entrance as I walk in. So, Alex, would you like to
Please.
come up?
Just wanted to introduce myself, Alex McGurry, recently elected mayor, and we're supporting this board. Anything that we can do, whatever you need, please don't hesitate. We have the camera running. My first meeting last week, I wasn't a technical guy, and we had some issues. Now we asked for some assistance, so we're going to have this back on video. This meeting and all meetings back on video, okay? So I'll probably say hello to each and one of you individually another time, but I don't want to get involved. I just wanted to introduce myself to the board, okay? Thank you. Good luck here. Thank you.
Okay.
Jeff, thank you for helping out. Okay.
Thanks, Alex. Appreciate it. Can we make a motion to open up the workshop meeting, please?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
I'll call the question. Aye?
Aye.
Everybody aye?
Yep.
First on the agenda, we have Alexander Smith. And who do we have representing Alexander Smith? Mr. Namaco?
Hello, Gary. How are you?
All right, sir. How are you?
Doing good. It's good to see you there.
Good to see you, sir.
And David.
Yes, good to see you.
So this is this project's been going on a little time because of additional information that was needed. Just to bring everybody up to date, it's an accessory apartment. It's a basement to an existing house. There was no change in footprint. There was no change in use. The parents wanted to give the apartment to their daughter, who's now in college, and for independence and for use. There was some building code and zoning code concerns through the process. We addressed them to make sure the apartment was under the allowable square footage of 1,000 square feet. I believe it's 890 square feet. During this time, I think one of the previous building inspectors were there to look at the work that was done to show that that one room is consistent and only accessible from the first floor, as we show. And then the last few comments were that there are additional structures on the site that had not gotten permits, so we needed a survey to show those structures, and I believe that'll become part of the conditional permit or conditional approval process, and that we would have to apply for permits to that. The one request was a survey be done, and so the survey is done by Don Stedge, and we're here to perhaps finalize the project.
Just one quick thing. You know how anal I am. On your plot plan, could you just fix the date for the 3/4/2026? You left a period out between the 4 and the 2 on the plot plan.
I'm gonna have to get on this
Sorry
at
about
my
that.
office. Okay, not a problem.
I just wanted to be consistent, that's all. If you see it up there on the upper right corner,
Mm-hmm.
just to throw the period in there to be consistent with everything.
Not a problem,
Thank you. Appreciate
of
it.
course.
Dave Higgins, do you have any comments you want to go over?
The Dave corner.
Yeah, I know. It's coming with Dave's here.
Sure, we have a number of comments. Most of them are informational based on the review of the application. I can certainly go through them one at a time if you like.
Sure, please.
Okay. Comment number 1, section 200-49 of the Village Code regulates accessory apartments outlined as follows. A, the lot must meet the requirements of the zoning district for a single-family dwelling, or if the lot is a pre-existing non-conforming lot, the accessory apartment shall not increase the non-conformity of the lot. Based upon the map provided, the existing building provides for only a 15.3-foot side yard, which is less than the 20 feet required. As this is a pre-existing non-conforming condition that will not be increased as a result of the conversion, the variance should not be required. So, again, just informational. B, there shall be no more than one accessory apartment per existing single-family detached dwelling on a lot. The proposal appears to meet this requirement. C, off-street parking spaces shall be provided for each dwelling unit in accordance with section 200-46. The plan depicts 4 parking spaces and appears to meet this requirement. D, proof that adequate water supply and sewage disposal facilities are available. The existing building is connected to the village water supply system and sanitary sewer collection system. Available capacity for the additional apartment is assumed. E, the accessory apartment, whether in the main dwelling or in an accessory structure, shall contain at least 600 square feet and not over 1,000 square feet of habitable floor area, and as such shall not exceed the size of the primary residence. If the accessory apartment is proposed within the main dwelling, the primary residence shall be no less than 1,000 square feet of habitable space. There shall be no more than 1 bedroom per accessory apartment. The design of the apartment will conform to all applicable standards in the health, building, and other codes. The floor plan for the basement apartment indicates the area of the accessory apartment is 890 plus or minus square feet, which appears to meet the code requirements. F, the owner of the property shall reside on the premises, either in the main portion of the house or in the accessory apartment. The plan appears to meet this requirement. For the information of future property owners or tenants, we recommend this requirement be noted on the plans. G, each dwelling unit in the structure shall contain its own separate and private bathroom and kitchen wholly within each dwelling unit. The structure in which the accessory apartment is located shall have only 1 front entrance and only 1 entrance from any other facade of the structure. An entrance leading to a foyer with entrances leading from the foyer to the 2 dwelling units will be acceptable. The plan indicates a proposed egress door on the rear side of the building and appears to meet this requirement. For the information of future property owners or tenants, we recommend this requirement be noted on the plans. H, the accessory apartment shall be designed so that the appearance of the building remains that of a single-family detached dwelling. Any new entrances shall be located on the side or in the rear of the building, and any addition shall not increase the habitable space of the original house by more than 800 square feet beyond its size on the effective date of this section. Accessory apartments shall be clearly incidental and subordinate to the principal structure and shall not change the single-family residential character of the neighborhood. The proposed apartment does not propose any additions to the building or changes in the building footprint. The proposed apartment appears to meet these requirements, and that is informational. I, if the accessory apartment is located above a garage, an air-to-air heat exchanger and a carbon monoxide detector shall be installed to reduce the risk of carbon monoxide poisoning. In the event the apartment is proposed for an accessory structure, the apartment must be wholly contained in the existing structure. Such structure shall have a dedicated water line and sewer line that are separate from the primary residence. The proposed apartment is located in the basement and is not above the garage. J, a detailed floor plan drawn to scale showing proposed changes to the building shall be submitted along with the application for special use authorization. A floor plan has been provided with the application. K, upon receiving special use authorization, the owner must file a covenant at the county clerk's office and with the local assessor stating that the right to rent an accessory apartment ceases upon transfer of title. A copy of said covenant shall be provided to the planning board and building department. Upon a transfer of title, the local assessor shall notify the building department, who will then take the appropriate steps to ensure compliance with these provisions. For the information of future property owners or tenants, we recommend this requirement be noted on the plans. L, purchasers of homes that have special use authorization for accessory apartments who want to continue renting those apartments must reapply for special use authorization. For the information of future property owners or tenants, we recommend this requirement be noted on the plans. And this should also be listed as a condition of any approval. M, upon approval from the planning board, full compliance with Chapter 158 rental property, including registration of the property with the Village of Monroe as a rental property, shall be completed prior to occupancy of the new accessory apartment. For the information of future property owners or tenants, we recommend this requirement be noted on the plans, and this should be noted in any resolution of approval. Number 2, based on discussion held at the November 10th, 2025 Planning Board meeting, one of the existing 6 accessory structures did not have a building permit issued. Any condition of approval should note the applicant's requirement to obtain a building permit for the structure in addition to the building permit required for the accessory apartment. Number 3, the project has been referred to the Orange County Department of Planning for review under GML 239. The Orange County Department of Planning has determined this to be a local determination and had no advisory comments regarding the application. Number 4, a public hearing was opened during the November 10th, 2025 meeting. No public comments were received, and the public hearing was closed in the same meeting. And number 5, at the November 10th, 2025 meeting, the board authorized Attorney Cassidy to prepare a draft resolution of approval.
Okay.
So on the plan notes is what we wanted to have on there, right? On the, I guess it's called,
It's the notes,
plans, details, and notes.
yeah, they relate essentially to the accessory apartment,
Right.
the regulations of, we just want to make sure that the
And that was,
owner and any future tenants, et cetera, are aware of those.
and that was updated on 7/8/2025, the last update
Of the regulations, you mean?
of the site plan, or the plot, of the floor plan.
Yeah, so our plot plan does not have these conditions listed because we did them, as you mentioned, back in July, and we just received these comments, you know,
Oh,
within the
okay.
last few days.
Yes.
So we have to incorporate these comments onto
I
the
got
plan.
it.
We have no problem with it,
Okay,
not a problem.
okay.
Can I ask a question, Dave?
Sure.
These comments, will they go on the permanent record that's in file, that the owner must live on premises once it's sold?
So that's what we're saying, so the village code has that requirement as it relates to accessory apartments, and they're agreeing with, complying with those, but we just want to have those on record on the plan, so that there's, it just makes it more clear,
Yeah,
for
but that's
future
what-
reference. Yes.
Okay, so it'll go on the permanent plot or whatever, for that it's an accessory with owner inhabitant.
Yes, and then there's also as I mentioned, a declaration that gets filed as well, which, puts that as part of the record, runs with the land
I just
essentially.
want to be clear that it's not just on his plan, it's going to go into a permanent record.
Well, it's on the plan, it'll be in the minutes, it'll be in the resolution of approval.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also the deed that gets filed, the declaration that gets filed, the covenant, yeah.
Thank you.
So that's what's underneath the accessory apartment law. Under, I forget what it was, 200,
48, I think, 249, 200-49.
I'm still on a learning curve.
That's okay.
It's all that's
So that's all under the special use permit section, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah, the section is 200-49, and it's for accessory apartments.
Okay.
And are we gonna issue an approval prior to the CO for all structures, or?
So, I think that's up to the planning board. I mean, they do have, so there's certainly a building permit that ultimately would need to be issued for the apartment, accessory apartment. And I guess it's up to this board whether they want to have the resolution of there was a structure that was built without a building permit, is what we had from the last meeting, right? One of the pavilions.
What's the status of that?
Well, usually the course of action is the planning board approves the site plan, which, is what we present. We'll revise it to include all the notes, and that'll be on the C1 plan, which will apply to all the accessory apartment. So once the planning board approves the site plan and the resolution, then we can go to the building department with those documents and submit it to them and apply for the building permit. Then once the building permits are issued, then the building inspector comes out, looks at the apartment, then he issues the C of O. So the first step is planning board approval.
So let me understand about this other, what was it called, a cabana or something, or?
Oh.
It didn't have a permit,
It didn't have a permit.
so, and it's a structure that's should be on the site plan.
It is.
Yeah. So, but then they got the permit from the building department for it.
No, we have
So it's not required?
No, a permit is required for the cabana.
Okay.
We have not done that yet.
And
I-
how come?
Because the site plan has to be approved by you first, and then we apply for the permit. So now that the cabana is part of this overall site plan and under your review, then,
Okay, so the building department needs our approval of the site plan.
yes.
Okay.
I don't think we need it, you're saying that's what's customary done, so we can say we can do it either way.
Well, I suppose there's a potential for, if that cabana wasn't shown on a site plan, and again, there was the regulation for anything that involved heavy equipment over 1,000 pounds, you needed to come get planning board approval until there was an interpretation recently that clarified that. But if that cabana is not, if it's shown on the site plan and this board doesn't want the cabana to be there, presumably they could If it's determined that it was required to have site plan approval for the cabana, they could advise the building department that the cabana is not approvable, in which case he would not issue a building permit for it.
How close is it to the property line?
So it's actually reversed, we're doing this in reverse.
Because I guess there's two cabanas, I believe, David, right?
Right,
Correct.
And they received the building permit for one of them, but not the other.
okay.
So which one on that? I think it's the one on the right.
See, I didn't bring my laser pointer because everything has been half.
Oh, we had that little pointer? Oh, he's got it right
This one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
That's the one that doesn't have the approval?
Correct.
there. And where's the property lines?
Here's the property line.
Mhm. The bearing and distance on
So
it.
there's no
There's no
violations or anything or any of that?
It's 4 posts into the ground.
So it's not a permanent structure,
Well, in your zoning code it is.
really? If it's anchored
It's attached to the ground.
to the
Yeah,
ground,
yeah,
okay. Yeah,
yeah.
okay. Does anybody have a problem with that?
Yes.
You do?
Maybe we should get the building permit for that, because we were told about it a while ago,
Mhm.
from last time you were here, if not before. And Mr. Higgins had said that it's a requirement to have to get the building permit for the gazebo, so why not just get it? We don't have to dig up anything anymore, right? Or do they still have to dig, that we need to have a bigger piece of equipment there? Is that why it wasn't done?
No, I don't have, I don't have an answer to why it wasn't done
Well, why
up to
can't
this
we
point.
just do it and get the permit?
If it's,
Get the permit for that first before you get the permit for the
Well,
rest.
that's why I said we're doing everything in reverse here.
Yeah.
Well,
Usually, if I were the owner, I would get a permit to put that in there, and to do that, I'd have to make a site plan and show it to the building department. The building department needs to approve that, come out and inspect it, and then give them the permit, and then go further with this accessory apartment. That's why I'm saying we're doing it in reverse.
Well, it's
Something that wasn't supposed to be there is there now, so now, how do we really know it's secure? How do we know it's proper? We're gonna throw it on the site plan and give it an approval, and my question is, did the building inspector inspect it at all?
I don't think the building inspectors inspected it, because there was no building permit
So, see,
issued,
that's my
right?
question, so how about if something's not right and it's gotta change, or it's gotta be moved?
Well, I guess the question
is.
is, does it need to be moved because because it needed a site plan approval from the planning board, and the planning board doesn't want it there? Or
I don't know, that's the building inspector's job, not mine, or ours, I should say.
Right.
So they should tell us, yes, that's okay, it's anchored properly, during high winds, it's not gonna take off. So we're gonna approve it on a site plan, but then the building department's coming in at the back door saying, hey, this isn't right. That's all I'm worried about.
So at the last meeting, as I mentioned in my review, the board had authorized the preparation of the resolution of approval. And it was discussed that building permit would be included as a condition. So presumably, and again, this is, unless the board has an issue with the location of that, or something other than the structural components of it, the safety or the structure of it, that's the responsibility of the building department. But if there's no issue with the location of it, or it being on the site plan, it could be a condition of the approval, and it would have to be completed by the applicant before the site plan is signed. But again, I don't think, there's been obviously change in the attorney for the planning board. I don't know if Elizabeth had drafted a resolution. I haven't seen one.
Well, Dave, that's something we have to ask you now.
Yeah, so it would be a totally acceptable procedure and not unheard of at all to make that a condition of the site plan, right? Because then the board's protected, the village is protected one way or the other. If you approve it subject to and conditioned upon that, the issuance of the building permit, then the applicant goes to the building department and says, okay, well, my site plan is not good, it's not effective until I comply with all these conditions. And if the building department looks at it and says, well, there's X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3 that are wrong with the shed, I'm not issuing you a permit. well, then the site plan conditions haven't been met. And so the approval doesn't go through. They don't have the right to develop the property in conjunction with the site plan. So by making it conditional, you're protecting against the
Okay,
issues
understood.
that are worrying you. And I think the one issue that Mr. Higgins brought up is if you have an issue from a planning perspective on where that shed is, right? That putting aside setbacks, and we don't have any reason to believe that it's violating setbacks, or we don't know if it's structurally sound or not. That's a building department. But if you looked at it from a planning standpoint and said, look, that's no good from our standpoint, the things that we typically are looking at as a planning board, well then that's a discussion you should open with the applicant now. If you're otherwise okay with it and you're just worried about which goes in which order, I think you're covered by making it a condition.
Okay. And I think it's in the right position because it's 20 feet away from the property line? Isn't that what it's supposed to be?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's from the distance up above 122, so it's, yeah, so it's gotta be meeting the zoning, so to say, the building code.
Meeting the zoning code.
Right.
It meets the zoning code, yes.
Okay. All right, so we can do it under condition then. Okay,
Thank you.
all right, that's it? Anything else? Anybody else have anything?
No.
So now you have to go back and update everything for us.
Yes.
Okay. And the submission date is, what's our submission date for the next workshop you're gonna make it for?
Well, what's the submission date for the formal meeting? Because the notes are minor at best. We can literally do that tomorrow.
Okay. So we're looking at, April 30th is the submission date. But that's not for the regular meeting, is it? 28th, so that's after.
Yeah, there is no submission date for regular
Right,
meeting,
right.
only for the,
Right.
it would be for the May 11th.
Yeah, we'd have to do it for May.
Is that what the board want? Of course, we'll comply.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I think, it's probably better that way,
It's reasonable.
okay?
So April 30th,
Right, is the submission date for the next workshop.
not a problem. We'll have everything then.
Everybody okay with that?
That's fine,
Yes.
yeah.
Harlan, you good? Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Marco, be well.
Good seeing you. It's
Take
been a
care.
long time.
take care. Next on the agenda is Rest Haven. Dave, you want to go over your comments?
Sure. We'll just read through them again, if that's okay, I guess.
Well, there was a,
One by one with a response?
there was an update, right?
Yeah, we got an
Update.
update on Friday, but we have responses for all of them for today. So I thought maybe do one by one, and I can get the response so it's orderly.
What's up to Dave? You want to do it that way?
That's fine with me, if the
Okay.
board is okay with that.
All right.
Okay. I'll skip through the description unless someone wants me to read that. We have the following comments on the submission. Number one, per the provided land use determination form, the applicant currently has 3 open building permits. It's electrical upgrades, decks, and ADA ramp construction, and fire escape construction for 2nd and 3rd floors that will need to be closed out prior to issuance of a special permit.
Now, if I may intervene, I talked to the building inspector, and I asked him, are there any outstanding permits? I said I think it was the March 9th workshop, there was 2 electrical and 1 ADA,
No, there's one ADA,
okay?
there is one fire escape,
Okay,
and the electrical one keeps becoming an issue. What happened when Jim Cox was here, he kept renewing it.
okay,
And when I sat with Brian, and I think it was Ron, and it might have been Dwyer too, because there was a whole bunch of other permits out there, they realized the electrical was closed, it's just the number changed.
oh, so they
And
changed it by number?
yeah, he changed it to a new number. So when I called underwriting, They said, what the hell you want this for? We gave it to Jim Cox on such and such a date. I said, okay, great. I then get told 3 times now that we're gonna clear it up. Now, with that said, you gotta remember, with the parking lot, we're gonna need an electrical permit anyway. So the reality is, there's gonna have to be a fence on the back of the property, which is not in there right now. So there are gonna be permits open. And yeah, I do understand from my last time here, those all have to be closed prior to any approval. They're usually conditioned that way, if I remember correctly.
Okay, I just wanted, because it was kind of foggy about what was.
Yeah, yeah, well, been a new department up there, they don't seem to catch it,
Right.
but I just figured, why fight the thing now? We'll do it.
They're gonna keep it open, so to say, because you're gonna have to do electrical.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do electrical, with the parking lights, we're gonna have to do it anyway, so why even fight the issue,
Okay,
right?
thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay,
Sorry, Dave.
that's okay.
Thank you.
Number 2, regarding the narrative that has been provided, titled Project Description and Questions Answered, the following comments are offered. A, the narrative is unsigned and its author is unknown.
That was me, but I
Okay.
didn't realize it had to be signed. I figured with the heading, but that was me. You want that resubmitted?
Well, yeah, there's other comments as well, so
Okay.
we'll continue. B, the proposed adaptive reuse of a historic building is subject to special permit approval. As outlined in section 200-48.2 of the code, certain criteria, for example, traffic, noise, landscaping, etc., must be addressed before a special permit may be issued. Although the applicant has provided a lengthy narrative, it does not specifically address the special permit criteria outlined in section 200-48.2.
Now I'll follow up with more details.
So there's specific criteria in that section.
Yes.
And what the board needs is to have essentially information that addresses each of those criteria directly.
I'll have
Okay,
that.
and if you want to provide background information, that's fine.
Right.
But, the board wants to be able to say that, yes, we've looked at those criteria and we agree with the applicant that it meets them,
Okay,
okay?
that's fine.
So basically, it's in our code, I think it's from A to F for the narrative.
Yeah, I looked it up, I printed it off.
Right.
What I'll do is cut and paste it out.
Gives you everything you need.
I'll
for the
description
narrative.
each one.
Okay,
That's fine, not a problem.
okay, thank you.
Okay. C, the narrative is written in an informal, first-person perspective. Several statements made such as the depth that this board looks into the property to ensure it is protected under the guidance is extremely important. The question is not how you do it, but where do you begin and where you end, are unclear and subjective. We recommend that the applicant provide a narrative that is objective, impersonable, and defensible.
Well, on that, the answer is real simple. There's nothing changing other than the parking lot. Nothing on the property's changing, the lights, and
No,
that's
what-
it.
I think what you're saying is your narrative is philosophical at times, but it should be practical and got it in.
Okay, I'll try and tighten it up.
Yeah, so like, in other words, describe there are some things changing, right? You're putting in some additional pavement, some additional parking striping, additional landscaping, lighting in the back, et cetera. Just go through those and describe what's
Okay.
being done, and,
Okay,
so the board can say, well, this is a summary of what they're doing.
I got you.
Okay? Okay, D, page 1 contains the statement, when we consider these options, this board is to consider these future projects. It is unclear what is meant by this.
It was just something Jeff said to me, that you're the first one that's doing this, so be as detailed about everything, so this way you guys can set a format as to, future people who come in and wanna do this.
Well, I guess
That's
the question was,
basically-
are there future projects planned?
Not for me, no.
So then,
Just-
we don't want to have anything
okay.
referencing a future project that this
Okay.
board is reviewing if there isn't one.
You got it.
Okay.
You got it.
Let me jump back. What are the open permits?
Huh?
What are the open permits? Is it electrical, ADA, and what
It's
else?
ADA, fire escape, electrical, according to the building department. Just those 3.
And they're all gonna be kept open because they're gonna be worked on anyways.
Well, the fire escape and ADA have to go back, and they're the historical aspect of the building. It really has nothing to do with the site plan or anything. That was something looked at previously in the old one. I had produced a lot of records showing that the fire escape was the way out of the building back in the day. And when I submitted those documents up to Albany, and Albany approved those things to be reinstalled. Well, the fire pit to be reinstalled where it originally was, which stood behind the carport.
Okay, but they're still part of the revisions to the premises, right?
They're adding, from a historical From a historical aspect, yes. I'm not adding it back because of this permit. I'm adding it back because of the historical, it's a historical on the building. But it does accommodate the fire needs off of the 2 floors, off the 2nd and 3rd floor.
So they'll be closed in the course of the renovations.
Huh?
They'll be closed in the course of the renovations, is what you're saying.
What do you mean, close the court?
You would open permits, right?
Oh, no, it's all gonna be closed. By the time we're done with the project, all permits will be closed. I'm just saying it was pre-existing to filing this application.
What I was going to recommend was, because I think the land use determination form that the building department provided listed, a number of permits that they said were open. I believe there was a
Right.
note on there about that they needed to be closed. I can't remember if they said prior to site plan approval. I think that may have been what it said, but I'll reach out to the building department and ask for confirmation
Yeah.
of what's open, and to determine if this board can continue with their review while those are open and be
Thank you.
Yeah,
be
just so
approved
it's
before they're
cleared
closed.
up. Yeah,
Okay.
so there's no questions after this.
Well, I was thinking it was gonna be subject to them being closed anyway, the site plan approval. you know.
Right, but I guess the idea is for them to understand, that we want to know why they're still open, just from their point of view, from the building department.
Okay.
Okay, number 3, Village Code does not prescribe a parking rate for the adaptive reuse of National Register Historic Buildings or for a country inn, and instead authorizes the planning board to determine appropriate parking requirements. That's section 200-61.1C. The plan proposes 54 parking spaces inclusive of 3 ADA accessible spaces. The narrative that was provided indicates that 54 parking spaces is what could be fit into the existing blacktop area without occupying areas of the front yard. The applicant should provide a reputable basis, for example, ITE parking generation, for the number of parking spaces that could reasonably be needed for the proposed uses based upon the floor area, number of seats, etc., so the planning board may review and confirm that that provided parking is appropriate.
We'll work on that. I'm Bill Johnson from Sprague on Youngblood. The 54 parking spaces are not on all the existing pavement.
Correct.
There's new pavement. It says here that these spaces are on existing. They're not all on existing. I just wanted to straighten.
No, that's fine. I think the question is that, I think what was put forth in the narrative is that, well, we put as much parking in the back as we could without putting it in the front yard, which is understandable. But
Right.
the board should have some basis for what, other than we just fit what we could.
Right.
Something to say, well, this is how much parking would generally be needed for a restaurant of a certain square footage or number of seats. How many parking spaces would be needed with the, 6 rooms that are being used in the 2nd floor. So again, to tie in the number of parking spaces provided with what reasonably would be expected with the use.
So you need us to provide a parking calc on the plan.
Yes, and again, you can reference ITE or the village code if they have a table for that.
Well, the idea, the way it's set up now is, it was mentioned to me not to go above a half-acre disturbance, which I kept under. My request to the engineer was, give me as many parking spaces in that land what we have plus the additional. That was the 54, including the 3. The reason for it is we were backing into what the occupancy will be in the building. So meaning, I don't want to, if the building says there's 200 occupancy in the building, and I don't have enough parking spaces, I'm not gonna expand what's in the back just to get me my 200. I'm gonna stick with what the number is based on the parking spaces. I'm not looking, because where am I gonna go? Then I'm gonna be up over a half-acre of land, disturbance and stuff, then I got bigger problems. So whatever those 54 give me is what it's gonna be, beginning and end. There's no magic number to it. And so when that gets approved by you, then I'm gonna worry about what my occupancy is. I think it's gonna be it's about 200. But if it's a little more, a little less, it is what it is. As to me to say to you, well, okay, you can get 300 people in there, well, that means you gotta add X more spots. Well, I'm not adding the extra spots, because then you're talking about me now disturbing over a half-acre of land that I was told, be careful you don't. So we're locked at the 54. It goes down, maybe, if I can't get, I highly doubt it in that building, but definitely not going up. because I'm not going above the 54. And that issue is actually addressed in one of your other questions about the size of the property, or the parking lot, the addition. Yeah, but that's purely, so what the calculation of the house doesn't matter. What matters is what I have in the parking lot. That's what's there. I got 54 spots. You tell me what I can have, or they tell me that's it. That's the number. We're not adding any more spots to the property.
So basically, because there's no bulk table in this zoning, in this law, they left it out for parking spaces. And usually, when we did a restaurant, I forget, it's in the code, we did how many people at a table. That's how we came up with the parking.
Right.
Instead of a bulk table. So that's something that's gonna have to be done. If you're gonna have, 25 tables and 4 to a whatever.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Just so, if I understand what you're saying, you're gonna take what you're gonna have on the third and the second floor, and then your occupancy for the restaurant will depend on how many spaces you have left?
Correct.
Parking spaces?
Correct.
So you're gonna limit the occupancy of your restaurant?
To my parking spaces, period.
That's what he said.
I'm not doing anything else. Like you said, there's no bulk, there's no nothing there, and that's fine. But under the advice that I got, if you're talking about going over a half acre of land, why am I gonna go over? If you say, oh, you need 5 more, why am I gonna go over? It's too much involved for 5 spots. I'd rather just say forget it and have the lower number.
So you're willing to limit the
Oh,
occupancy of your
absolutely.
restaurant?
That's the way this survey was drawn up, to limit
Okay.
everything. Nothing is extended or,
But without the calculation, the board doesn't have a basis to determine whether or not the
That's what I
square
was trying
footage
to
and the
get
number
at.
of seats that you're proposing are gonna be excessive for the number of parking spaces you're providing.
When we
That's
did
why the
restaurants-
calculation
when we
is
did
important.
restaurants, we had to do that.
yeah, but what I'm saying though, even if it's excessive to the parking spaces, then we're reducing the
Right, but that's
occupancy
what this
in the
board will
building.
review.
The
Right.
building is never gonna exceed the calculation for the
Right,
parking.
So without the calculations, the board is gonna, review the application and potentially approve the application. What they do, they're going to look at the site plan that you have, which has certain square footage, certain number of rooms, et cetera. If you don't provide the calculation, they have no way of knowing whether, what they're approving is going to be served by the 54 parking spaces you're
Right.
showing.
Okay, well, like I said, it doesn't
I understand what you were
matter.
saying,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
gonna scale it back.
I'm scaling it back no matter what.
But then you need to do that so that the board can approve a scaled back version.
Yeah.
Just show the calculations is all.
How many tables do you think you're gonna have in the restaurant?
I'm sorry?
How many tables do you think you're gonna have in the restaurant?
Maybe I'm not making it
What
clear
we're
enough, I don't know.
doing is in the dining room and foyer area, that's about 700 square feet of 3,600. That's gonna be bar area only.
Okay.
So when you come in, there's a 550 square foot room, that's the parlor, which will be a dining. And then in the back, there's another, I think it's 300 or 400 square foot, they call it the billiard room. That's gonna have a few more tables, and that's it.
Okay.
Because then in the back room is where all the artifacts are gonna be, that I have in the building.
So you're actually making a museum in there too?
They told me I can put put things on display, so people have to go back to the bathroom, they can look at all the different fancy things, you
Okay,
know.
so stuff on the wall is what you're talking.
Well, we have casings too. We have casings that we were given by the Helen Keller Gallery
Okay.
back in October 2018. And that houses like articles, the original deeds since 1897, original article from 1903 about the house. And those will be back out of the way in a room that's not even being used other than to go to the bathroom. But I'm restricting it to maybe 30 tables, and
30
don't mark me
tables.
up 30, maybe 40 tables, that's it.
Okay.
Because
Max?
I'm trying to pick up more of the bar area than pick up the restaurant, than pick up seating.
Well, 40 tables with 54 parking spots, that doesn't work.
Huh?
40 tables and you have 54 parking
I
spots.
said roughly, we're gonna get the
That-
number in the end.
You'd have to do half. If you have 54 parking tables, and you have an upstairs and a downstairs, you're gonna be limited to maybe 15 to 20 tables.
Well, second floor is strictly housing with 5 rooms. That's it. That's housing only, no food service up there,
Yeah, but you
nothing.
have to give them a parking space.
Yeah,
That's what
I
I'm
agree.
saying.
Well,
But what I'm saying is, and you've said that you've had very big events there where you've had
Weddings?
100 people there, and you're not gonna be able to do this. You're gonna be down to 15 to 20 tables
well,
realistically.
we're gonna figure out the numbers, because again, I got the big problem is the parking.
That's what I'm
And,
saying.
and so I'm going with what there is and leaving it at that. So
Okay, so-
whatever it ends up being, it's gonna be.
You're gonna have a small restaurant. You're gonna have 20 tables tops. With
We'll see.
54
We'll
spots,
see
I
where
don't
the
know what,
numbers
I
are.
don't know what the equation is, but yeah, that's,
Usually,
We'll work on that.
you, okay.
We'll work.
Yeah, let's do the calculations and present it to the board so we could see how many tables you're gonna have and the amount of people that's
Okay.
gonna come to a restaurant.
Okay.
Well, let's see how that works.
Okay, so continuing on, number 4. The grading and utility and erosion and sediment control plan, sheet 3, indicates the total disturbance area is 0.4988 acres, which is just slightly less than the half-acre threshold for requiring preparation of a full SWIP. Our office recommends prior to construction, the limits of disturbance be staked out in the fields to ensure that actual disturbance is kept within the proposed limits.
We agree.
Number 5, it is our understanding that the applicant proposes a restaurant that is to be open to the public. Unless one is currently in place, a grease trap should be provided to serve the kitchen sewer line. The applicant has indicated this will be coordinated with the health department.
Yeah, we had agreed with that on the project.
Number 6, the applicant should provide the existing and proposed water use and sewer flows. To determine the proposed water use and sewer flows, we recommend confirming the age of the plumbing fixtures in use, post-1994, pre-1994, pre-1980, and using the applicable hydraulic loading rates of the New York State design standards for intermediate-sized wastewater treatment system for the proposed uses. For the existing water use and sewer flows, we recommend providing meter reading if available, or using the New York State design standards table if meter readings are not available.
Yeah, the property has 8 inches of water to it. From the prior approval, we installed a 6-inch line that was originally supposed to be used for both the service as well as the fire system. We ended up getting approval from the building department that they left the water line service alone and said to dedicate the new 6-inch line to strictly the fire system in the house. And so that's basically what
That
we're
doesn't
doing.
answer the flows.
Right.
Well, there's nobody living there but me, so I don't know how to answer that.
Now, the flows, the county health department is gonna have to take your flows, number of people that are gonna be there. Restaurant,
Okay.
staying there, and what's gonna be upstairs on the 3rd floor? Is that offices?
Offices we're talking about.
Okay, so you're gonna,
Yeah, but not regular, it's private offices. In other words, for the owners of the, that's running the place,
I
they have
understand.
an office, that's it.
I understand, but now you're increasing the number of people, so the flow is gonna be more.
Right.
And the water pressure, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that all have, so the Department of County of Health needs to look into that.
Okay, I'll speak to them. I've already spoken with the health department on other things.
Okay, number 7, we note the code prohibits exterior illumination between the hours of 11 p.m. and 6 a.m., except when the planning board finds that said illumination would not impact an adjoining use. That's section 200-61.11.
Yep.
We recommend noting the hours of illumination on the plan or adding a note prohibiting exterior illumination between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m.
That's on note 15.
Okay,
You don't have it up there, the plan. Note 15 actually states a different hour time, but it fits within these hours.
okay, what I recommend is that when we settle this and what you're gonna have lighting, I wanna send it to the police department. I want them to review it for security lighting.
Right, and part of the presentation I know we had with Dave is that there are lights that I put up
Right.
on the telephone pole that actually face the property in the
Sure.
front. I didn't want to put more lights than that because I didn't want to overwhelm the environment, but the back, as the plans will show, have a lot of lights. But they're more than welcome, as they know, they're more than welcome at any time.
It was last month's workshop meeting, you guys were talking about, well, we'll go ahead and we'll shut them off and save money. And I think the police department needs to make sure that there's security lighting. You're gonna have people coming out late in the restaurant, you're gonna have people coming in late to your bed and breakfast. There has to be security lighting, not only for their health and safety, but for anybody as far as coming into the grounds and any suspicious things that go on, so you need lighting back there. So when you settle the lighting, we need to send it to the police department.
Okay. Well,
Let them
remember,
review it.
Yeah, but remember, they're staying up there, we're being told not to illuminate between 11 PM and 6 AM.
That's okay. I just want the police department to
Okay.
give us input
Okay,
when we send the site plan, the lighting plan, the lighting
Okay.
plan. I want input from the police department for security.
okay,
That's our main concern. So,
okay.
It could be a sensor.
That's more or less the dark skies
Walk
view.
by, they illuminate right away.
Whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
I like the advice of the police department, and if
Yeah.
that's what they say, great, you know? So,
Okay, number 8, village code requires all parking spaces to be double striped. So again, that's just the detail that you have to show single striping between parking spaces.
We'll do it.
Okay, number 9, the plan has been modified to include a gravel curtain drain at the edge of the proposed parking lot as was previously discussed. The proposed swale and berm appears to direct a concentrated discharge in the area of the proposed driveway. A site visit will be conducted to review the topography in this area and to determine if stormwater runoff will be discharged to the roadway or to the neighboring property. So again, we just want to make sure there's no, you're
I
not
would expect you to.
discharging, concentrated stormwater onto the neighboring
Yep,
property, okay?
that's fine.
and is it gonna go down the driveway? Is it going down the driveway now? or-
It really, no, it goes right, well, yeah, it goes down the driveway and it, it never goes really onto the neighbors. Because it's,
On the, on the surface? On the
yeah,
surface
on
of
the
the driveway?
surface. Yeah, because when it snows and plows,
Yeah.
I'm the one that sees it.
I'm just
It's-
worried about ice,
Yeah,
so.
I agree.
And we've added a berm and extended the berm even further.
Right, I remember you saying that. Mhm.
It's, and the swale, there's a swale after the gravel reservoir, so anything that gets past the reservoir will go out.
Okay,
But there is going to be the reservoir in the end of the parking area.
and that discharge goes to the street?
Pardon?
The discharge of the
If it
water?
overflows, it will go to the
The
swale
overflow.
and then go to the street.
Got it, okay.
Number 10, village code requires a performance bond to be filed with the village board concurrent with site plan approval. The applicant shall provide a construction cost estimate of all site plan improvements for review.
I provided that today.
Okay. We haven't had time to review it.
Yeah, no, just so you know it's there.
Okay. Number 11, the code requires special use permit applications for the adaptive reuse of National Register historic buildings to be forwarded to the New York State SHPO for review and comment. The code authorizes the planning board in its discretion to retain a qualified historian to assist in the review of any application. The applicant has provided an email letter from SHPO dated March 9th, 2026, indicating that they previously issued approvals for the ADA upgrades, the fire escape, and the commercial hood for the kitchen. Prior to making a secret finding, we recommend that the planning board send a written request to SHPO advising of the acceptability of the current plan, complete with any changes that are being proposed. Now, I did get a call today, timing is everything, I guess. I got a call today from, I can't remember her last name, Sarah from the Office of Historic Preservation, saying that apparently the email that she wrote was referencing all of the changes that the applicant has made with applications in their office over the course of the last 6 years. So that email wasn't just referencing the original approval, it was instead actually referencing changes that have been incorporated, including the plan that they have right now is the one that the board is reviewing for the restaurant and the hotel bed and breakfast rooms in the second floor. She did say that the department was happy with the plans, pleased with them, and that when the board, if the board wants to make a referral back to them to ensure that any changes that are made during the site plan review process are consistent with the approval that department has issued, she'd be happy to take a look at it.
So now that's just the updated site plan, and how about the floor plan of the building?
I believe she has everything, I
has all
think,
that?
Yeah, I
yeah.
gave her everything. I
Yeah.
give them everything. That's why I've done very well with it. I have no problems getting approvals and stuff, because I know exactly what they're looking for.
Because there was the new law adopted in September last year for the, it's called for the Country Inn. And this is a new law, so does that reflect this new law?
So, again, the conversation just happened this afternoon.
Okay.
I took a quick look at the documents that she sent, and she did send me a number of plans and documents that they have in their office. But I did speak with her in the email that she sent back to me, confirmed that it is for, the restaurant and the bed and breakfast rooms.
Okay.
And it's not related to the prior application, which was an adult,
Right,
adult home.
so the use has changed. The original use was 13 rooms. So now we're adding the restaurant, we're adding the bed and breakfast?
No, the room,
Offices.
it was 6 rooms, but 13 people.
Okay,
Because you could only have so many people in by New York State Department of Health.
Okay.
That's why it was 13, just so because there's only the one floor that rooms are on, which is the second floor.
gotcha, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's
I remember
okay.
13 was.
I know,
out
it's
there.
been 5 years, but you'll remember.
I'm starting to remember. So-
Whatever I receive, I will certainly send over to the board,
Yeah.
so they have it, and we'll take a
Yeah,
look at
because
it.
my concern is that everything that was done in the past is now null and void. We need
Well-
updated documents.
Well,
and-
pretty much it is, except for the ADA ramp is
Right.
not void, the fire escape is not void.
Right,
And that's it. That's the only thing. Everything else is what we're discussing today on the outside for the site plan, the parking lot, the lights. That's basically all there is. The trees that are coming down and going up. That's really all there is on the outside going on. And anything going on inside structurally, there is nothing. There is no
Well,
changes.
They've reviewed, in other words, what's being proposed currently has been submitted to SHPO,
Right.
and they've reviewed it and accepted it.
Right,
Okay.
right, and I know exactly, except for they wanted to know how the bar was gonna stand. And I discussed it with her, I can mount it to one wall, but she doesn't want it mounted to the floor. That's been cured, taken care of, so there really is not much, there's really not much to this house to finish to get it on. That's why I'm trying to push this thing along to get it open, I'd like by September 1st.
so I guess I'm envisioning with the new law, the new code that the village board adopted in September, these bullet items that they have on the code, 1 through 11, is gonna meet all
Correct.
that.
Correct, 45,000 square feet, and I don't got the list, yes, it was designed to make sure.
Okay, I don't remember seeing a floor plan. Do we have a floor plan?
No, I have not submitted an updated floor plan yet because I was concentrating mainly on the outside. And as I said, my main concern, and I said this back in November, I was here to do, you weren't here, Gary, at the time?
Right.
Just to do a, I don't know, what do you call it, informal review?
Right.
Paul? And I indicated that this is all I'm gonna be doing. I don't care where I land up, but it's all I'm gonna do, because as I said, if I start, where am I gonna go with more parking lot? The front lawn? It's not gonna work. It's just not gonna work, in my opinion. So I'm sticking with what I have,
Okay.
but yeah.
Okay, number 12, approval from Orange County Sewer District Number 1 will be required for increased sewer flows.
Yeah, I have already had and submitted to them, the best case scenario, and I've got what they told me I can have, but I've gotta have an engineer actually design the system, and again, come up with the calculation to determine, whether we have to add another sewer line or not. But that's gonna be determined in the next month or so.
Okay, number 13, a letter dated April 10th, 2026 was received from the building inspector that a fire sprinkler system is required throughout the building.
Okay, let me address that. Gary, you and I have been down this road before.
Many times.
Yes, but this fire sprinkler system is the biggest one. I emailed to your office today, and I'm hoping you can bring it up, the sprinkler issues. What there is, and this is where Jim went wrong, and I tried to get it through Rob's today, but he doesn't respond, and it would make it a lot easier if he responded. There is, when you do not meet the code, there's this form, a performance comparison for old homes and historical homes that you calculate out. These are the same calculations that were used on the senior housing, because nothing's changed in the building whatsoever. So if you go down to the bottom, after all these calculations are made, okay, go down, back up right there. See where the 28 is, 53, 50. Now there's a chart that I gave you. If you can, I don't know if you can put them side by side with the other chart. Not this particular chart, there's another chart I gave you that's about 5 or 6 lines.
I don't think I can do it side by side.
Okay,
Is
so,
that the one that I made you send in a different format?
yes, ma'am.
Do we have this?
Mr. Smith, did you receive the April 10th letter from Mr. Roller?
I never got that letter, but I only got information about it, and I got the email telling me that I had to put a fire system a sprinkler system in the entire house. And this is what I'm aiming towards, why we do not.
I
So-
think it's because that hasn't been submitted. I spoke to
No,
the
well,
building inspector
But,
today.
yeah, but the building inspector said to me in an email, you gotta do it. And I said, no, you're wrong. I've been through this down the road. The only reason Albany overruled Jim on everything across the board, there you go. If you look where it says if you go to A2, the minimum you have to have is 21, 32, 32. If you go back to the other report, you'll see every column line is above those numbers, which means that for that use, we're sufficient the way the building is. If you go down to, which was the other one, if you could get back, go down a little further, which one was it? I think it was, must be
R.
R. If you look at R, 21, 38, 38, again, you go back, those are the two different uses. The A1 is a restaurant, and the R is the rooms on the second floor. In every case, our numbers on each of those relevant columns are above, which approves us for that. That's where Jim and I got into a difference, and I went to Albany, and Albany overruled him.
I remember.
So it is relevant to this. I can spend, but it's really what the building department needs from what he told me, he's never dealt with historical buildings before. So I understand, and Jim I don't think did either, but then Neil Collar, who's up in Albany, do you know of him?
I don't know him.
Okay, he's the guy that goes to and handles the appeals. He gave Jim that, there it is, A2 and A2
So he
and
gave
R1.
That's when you went up to Albany that time, 6 years
Correct,
ago, for
'cause
the
Jim,
variance.
correct, well, no, Jim didn't want to accept this.
Right.
So we gave them this, David went up there,
Right.
Marcos, and they said, he's right, this is exactly what it is. So he can approve it at his level with this, or he can reject it.
And
That's-
who gave you this?
It was done on the prior occupancy.
I don't remember this.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't see it, because it went to the building department, building department said no, it went up to Albany came back with their decision, said yes.
Can I interrupt for 1 second?
Yeah.
Did Albany, did they give you a variance, or did they overrule him and
They
say he was
overruled-
wrong?
You have the,
Yeah, I'm just on board, yeah.
Yeah, they have it, somewhere, let me see, that's what I'm thinking I might. No, I don't have it there. Let me see if I have it here. No, but I know I think, Terry, do you have that in the file at all? You may not have it, but the building department has it, and.
If you have it, could you submit it as well, like an additional copy of it?
Yeah. What it basically said that he hung his hat on is that on the bottom it said that it was applicable strictly to that application. But this is the same numbers that are gonna come back in to him. And what I asked him to do is to take these reports, apply it to the scale like you saw, and yes, I can do it. If he wants to drag me out, then he says no, I go to Albany and they overturn it and he drags me out for no reason. I mean, I've been down this road way too many times.
So these forms here, are these specific to your current application?
They're specific to the building department determining whether we have to put sprinkler system in or not.
I know the
Yes,
purpose
yes,
of it.
yes.
My question is
It
the
would be.
information that's filled out there? based-
What?
Isn't the answer no?
Well, these are relevant because Rob wants me to put sprinkler systems in the house. And that's in his papers here.
And he's not saying it just on square footage, by the way. He's saying there's other things in the code that are triggering this.
Right.
This, and Jim tried the same thing. This is what cured the whole thing, that said I went up to Albany, there's an existing sprinkler system in the basement, there's standpipe systems throughout the house, Plus, they wanted 2 more locations on standpipes, on the flat staircases, and that was it. So,
And you added the fire escape.
right, and then I go 13, 12 fire extinguishers, the smoke detectors, et cetera, et cetera. He's supposed to consider this. If he wants to reject it, he rejects it, it goes to Albany. But it's not gonna be a good thing by
He
doing
hasn't
that.
received it yet, is the
Huh?
point. He hasn't received it.
Yes, I did. I emailed it to him the other day, and I emailed him to it again today.
So the forms that are relevant to this current application.
This is now relevant as far as the sprinkler system goes. It's interchangeable because if I don't put
Because I saw the forms earlier today, and they listed R4, which is the old
Well, I
document.
changed it because it's actually an H, because he came in with an email that said to me it's an R1.
It's an R1, right.
And then I changed it, and then I went back to the scale, and that's how I
So
came up with
did he
it.
get that today?
He got that today.
Okay, so he needs to review what you've submitted.
Yes,
Okay.
and contact Neil Collar. He should know who Neil Collar is, because this was Neil's
Okay.
idea from Albany.
Okay, but the bottom line is he didn't have that information until today.
He had it last week, I thought. I know, I thought I said.
I don't
but-
think so, because I spoke to him on Thursday, and he didn't mention anything about
It
it.
might have given it to him on Friday, but anyway, I'd like to
Okay.
just get it done. I
Okay,
mean, at this
but anyway,
point.
that's where the comment in my letter comes from.
Okay, yeah, so he just has to rule he's gonna accept it or not, and then I go to Albany with it.
Just for clarity, what you're saying is that's information given to him after the April 10, 2026 memo. It's since he
Yeah,
wrote
because I
this.
didn't know, I didn't even get the
After.
letter. I knew nothing about the letter.
Okay.
And I asked for a copy of the letter, I thought it was a letter to you, but I asked for a copy, I never got it today.
Well, I thought we sent it Saturday, or Friday.
I was gonna send it this morning, but then there was
Oh.
back and forth with the building inspector, and I guess I didn't
Because-
know it got sent out or not sent out, but there was,
In the code here, it says R1 occupancy extends across a story within a non-separated mixed-use building. Therefore, the R1 fire area is not isolated as per section 903.2.8. Sprinklers are required throughout the building, not just the R1 portion.
so I believe that
Oh,
section is from New York State Building Code. And the
Okay.
section that Mr. Mitz is referring to is section, or chapter 13 from the existing building code of New York, which provides for the performance scoring system.
14.
Chapter 14?
1400.
Okay, so under an existing building, they have the opportunity to provide that. But that's what the building inspector will wind up reviewing.
Yeah,
And the only reason why I look at, my concern is, God forbid there's a fire,
and I understand that,
and somebody dies,
Mhm.
guess who's liable? We are.
Well, I get that, and
That's what's
I
scary.
understand, there's nobody that's more protective of this house and lives than I
And
am.
I'm not questioning that.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying,
I'm questioning
Yeah.
because of the past, we're bringing it up again, and this is a whole new application,
Yeah.
a
Well,
whole new use.
and
It's not the original use, it's
Right.
an altogether different use.
right,
So it's a
but,
whole new application.
You also-
and all the documents pertaining to that portion is
Mhm.
gone.
Yeah.
And we need to make sure we got the right documents for the new use.
right, you also need to, I need to be concerned what New York State SHPO is gonna say about it as
Right.
well. That was the big issue, they didn't want it touched.
That's April 10th, for your
Yes.
records.
Thanks.
But,
Well,
Anyway-
Mr. Mintz, what was the date of the
The engineer, not the architect.
of the Albany decision?
Albany decision was.
Approximately.
No, 4/14,
Okay, hold on.
2020.
Hold on, let's,
4/14/2020.
Is it again, I'm not familiar with
Yeah.
this section of the existing building code, but I know in the review memo, it's referencing the 2025, which would be applicable to your current application.
current application.
Is there a difference between the versions of the existing building code, how it views this?
No.
That one applicable in
No,
2020?
let me show you, let me show you. If you go up a little bit, you see these here? You could raise that a little bit there,
building heights, building area.
Yeah. You see where it says all these numbers, 1401.6.1, all these are evaluated under these separate columns. They come up with point totals, and those totals are compared against the chart. That's basically how it's done on a pre-existing building.
Was that also so in April 2020?
Exact same thing, exact
Okay.
same, nothing's
That's what I was
changed
trying to
on the
understand.
goals.
That's
Nothing's
two
changed.
thousand and fifteen building code.
Excuse me?
That's 2015.
Yeah, so whatever,
Well, this is the form for 2015. All you gotta do is pull up to 2025 if it's even changed, but I don't think this has changed.
So that's what we need,
But
have to make sure.
something that's current needs to, and again, it's not to this board, it goes to the building department for the
Right.
building inspector to review to determine whether or not the fire sprinkler
Correct.
system is required.
Right.
The record should reflect they gave Mr. Johnson a copy of the April 10th determination by the building inspector, just so that's.
I appreciate it.
And you have that already, right?
No, I don't. They,
Well, you have it now.
okay. Okay, that's fine.
We need to fookus on this with the building department.
Correct.
Right, we need to hear both sides. I think
Right.
what Mr. Roller is saying is that there are factors other than just the square footage that are implicated here.
Right,
That's,
I don't know that you're answering that, Mr.
yeah, from my understanding,
right.
everything you see in that section takes every aspect of the building into effect to what you can and cannot do based on how it rates out. The only thing that it doesn't rate out on is the last box on the bottom, number 16, mixed occupancy. Because before it was a single use, now it's a mixed occupancy, which is a +10 rate, according to what I see, because the break between the first floor and second floor is the ceiling, and it's a 2x10
Right.
wood, floors and everything.
So do you need,
We all,
oh, no, again, finish, go ahead.
I think we all see there's an open issue here that needs further scrutiny. I suggest unless there's something else we need to vet right now, we mark it as such and move on.
Right.
Well, and I agree, and I employ you to get the building inspector to discuss this, because it needs to be discussed and taken off the table.
I think our council and engineer are gonna be looking into that with the building
Okay.
department.
And you can let me know so we can resolve it quicker than, because if it becomes an issue, I want to send it up to Albany, which should take me 2 months to do.
Well,
And
I'll certainly
only-
coordinate with the building department and
Yeah.
find out
Right,
what the decision is, yeah.
Okay.
correct.
Okay, number 14, the plans were referred to the chief of the Monroe Joint Fire District, who provided a letter indicating that the plans were acceptable and that there would be no issues maneuvering in the parking area or around the building. That's just an informational comment.
Comment noted.
Number 15, the submitted narrative indicates that the existing well is within a concrete tank that is roughly 19 feet deep and 3 feet round with tile walls, and that it is to be used solely for irrigation. Because the well does not have a sanitary casing and represents a possible entry of contamination to the groundwater, the applicant shall provide written confirmation from the Orange County Department of Health of the acceptability of such use.
Yeah, what I said back then is I was considering on using it for irrigation, not that I was committed to using it. And if it's gonna become a problem, I just won't use it, because there is no irrigation system on the property right now anyway.
So the health department has requirements for abandoning wells.
They can't touch this. This dates to 1903. You can't touch this. I can't touch it.
No.
It's original to the house.
I'd
It's
recommend
original
that
well.
that the planning board get a letter from the health department as
Right.
to, again, if you have
It
an
should be
open,
capped.
yeah, if you have an open hole to the ground,
Sure.
No, it's not an open hole. It's got a cement thing about this big that sits on top of it.
But it needs a regulation
yeah,
cap around.
I'd recommend getting
Right.
an interpretation, be it an email or a letter from the Orange County Department of Health indicating that
Right.
they have no objection to you leaving the historic well
Okay.
in its current state.
Yeah, we need to do that, please.
Yeah, because that's a cistern. That actually
Right.
takes the roof water into it as well, because there's two tunnels underneath it, or
Okay.
two,
Yeah,
Number 16, the proposed restaurant is subject to a food service establishment permit from the Orange County Department of Health.
Noted.
Number 17, regarding the submitted short EAF, question 2, the Orange County Department of Health should be listed as a permitting agency for food service establishment.
Agreed.
B, the included EAF mapper summary report indicates the presence of northern long-eared bats. We recommend a note be added to the plan limiting tree clearing to the period from November 1st through March 31st.
You agree with that?
No, yeah.
And C, as advised by the planning board attorney Cassidy, this should be considered an unlisted action. And 18, in accordance with Village Code 200-72E4, a public hearing is required.
so do we have Cassidy's, no, it's something else, I'm sorry. So it should be an unlisted action,
That's what was determined, I think, previously by Ms. Cassidy.
Right.
Yeah.
so that's the different EAF form, the short form, right, if I'm not mistaken?
It was a short form that was submitted, which I think is
Right.
fine as an unlisted
Right,
action.
unlisted action is a short form, EAF, okay.
We have to revise it to put the health department on there.
Correct.
Anybody have any other questions or comments, suggestions? No? We're good?
Good?
Okay, very good, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. I gotta get you. Okay, so then, that's it for this evening as far as what's on the agenda. And do we want to make a motion to adjourn? To work that motion? We have a second? Everybody aye? Aye. Oh, he thought he was saying. Oh, he's there, he's in the back, I hear that. Okay, good. Thank you.
So,
Well done.
no, thanks. Do you know, are you going to be coming to the next one?
I don't know.
You don't know yet?
I don't, typically I handle